A few weeks ago, I made a video about the Irish rental market and how it was heading for disaster in 2026. But I was really surprised by the outcome of this video. I got over 80,000 views and I got hundreds of DMs, emails, messages on LinkedIn and loads of comments from landlords who were reaching out to tell me something that I expected and something I didn't quite expect either. Landlords were saying things like, I'm keeping the house for my kids to go to college. I am hoping to hold on to it for them because I know they will struggle with finding accommodation. However, with these new rules, I'm going to sell. And they know now they're going to put their kids into a difficult situation come college. But they felt that even while the rules allow for them to get the properties back for their kids, they didn't want to risk it, and the sentiment around this has changed. Others were reaching out to tell me that they weren't planning to sell at all. They had no intention of selling. They were hoping to keep on to their property for another 20 plus years and rent it out. However, their tenants were now leaving and they were going to be forced into signing up to these new conditions. And they didn't want to, so they were selling as well. Other landlords were reaching out to tell me that they were technically large landlords because they had 4 properties, and under the new regulations they would be considered large, and they were therefore going to sell 2 of their properties. So these things kind of didn't surprise me, but it was quite shocking that a lot of people were reaching out to me to tell me this. When they rang me and spoke to me, they weren't angry, they were just exhausted. They said I was spot on with the video and it was the exact reason why they were selling. But here's the part that surprised me most. A lot of them told me that they felt sorry for their tenants. Most people would brand landlords as greedy investors. Some of these had long-term tenants and some were charging below market rents. But they all said something very similar. We feel like we've no other choice. We feel like the government is forcing us to sell, and I feel sorry for my tenants. What surprised me wasn't these comments, but it was after I hung up, I started to understand why so many of these people were reaching out to me, to call me, to DM me. It's because they felt bad about what they were doing. They felt sorry for their tenants, and effectively they were confessing to me. And they were feeling relieved somewhat of what they were about to do by talking to me. And I unintentionally became a support to this. And this is the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted to support our rental market. I wanted to see more options for tenants, not less. Some people will hear this news, and plenty of comments have raised on the video around this, that this will be good news for the market, that there'll be more options for people to buy. But that's not the reality. The reality is the second-hand home market is 50% less than it was in 2020. And at 2020, it was still at a very low level. And for the last 2 to 3 years, the vast majority of properties coming onto the market have been landlords selling. So that trend isn't going to change in 2026, which means that there's not going to be a huge burst in new supply. It will help supply of old rentals coming onto the market, meaning apartments or homes that often need a lot of work. It's not what families are looking for or want at the moment. Family homes, the ones that people actually want to buy, will still be very limited in 2026. So yes, landlords will continue to help supply, but supply will still be at all-time low levels. So this won't fix the market in any way at all. And for renters, this is where it really becomes a disaster. There's going to be fewer rental properties and more competition. This isn't speculation anymore. This is the consequences of 10 years in the making, and these rules that are coming in March of this year up the stakes for landlords. And landlords aren't willing to play the game anymore, and they're cashing out now. Landlords aren't the ones that are going to be hurt here. It's tenants. And that's the scary part. Most people think we're at the worst we can get to, but we're not. This is just getting started, and it's going to get a hell of a lot worse. If Ireland wants to actually avoid a major issue or major disaster with the rental market, but keep rules in place and also protect tenants, they have to offer something to landlords to stay in the game. They have to give them some sort of incentive. And at this stage, the only incentive they can give them is massive tax breaks to keep them in the market if they want to sign up to these new rules. Without those, the rental market is going to be a disaster, and there's going to be so few opportunities for people to rent going into the future.